My name is Alexander Reed. I'm 36 years old. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Boston, Massachusetts. I've defended murderers, thieves, and people who have done things most of you can't imagine. I've won cases that no one thought I could win. I've built a reputation as the lawyer you call when no one else will take your case. But 10 years ago, I was someone else entirely. I was a woman who trusted the wrong person. A woman who believed that her best friend would never betray her. A woman who thought she knew what love was. I was wrong about all of it. 10 years ago, my best friend, Vanessa, destroyed my reputation to steal my fiancé. She spread lies about me that I'm still trying to forget. She took the man I was supposed to marry. She took my career before it started. She took everything I thought I was. And then, 10 years later, her son was arrested for murder. He was 17 years old. He was facing life in prison. And Vanessa, the woman who had ruined my life, came to me. She came to the one person she had betrayed. She came because I was the only lawyer in the city who could save her son's life. Before I tell you what I decided, before I tell you whether I took her case or let her son rot in prison, I need you to understand what happened 10 years ago. I need you to understand the depth of her betrayal. I need you to understand how she destroyed me, and how I rebuilt myself from the ashes. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, drop a broken heart in the comments. And tell me where you're watching from. I want to know who else has survived what I survived. Let me take you back. To Boston. To a small apartment in the North End. To the year when I lost everything. I met Vanessa Pierce when I was 19 years old. We were both undergraduates at Boston University. She was studying communications. I was pre-law. We lived in the same dorm, 2 floors apart. We met in the laundry room, fighting over the last washing machine. She was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that stops conversations. Dark hair. Green eyes. A smile that made everyone in the room feel like they were the only person who mattered. I was not beautiful. I was smart. I was driven. I was the girl who stayed in the library on Friday nights, reading case law, memorizing statutes, preparing for a future I could already see. We became friends anyway. She was drawn to my seriousness. I was drawn to her lightness. She made me laugh. She made me leave the library. She made me feel like there was more to life than the cases I was going to win. You think too much, she'd say, pulling me away from my books. Come on. Let's get a drink. Let's talk to boys. Let's do something that isn't homework. I have a constitutional law exam on Monday, I'd say. You'll pass. You always pass. Now put on something that isn't a sweatshirt and let's go. I went. I always went. Because Vanessa was the first friend I'd ever had who made me feel like I was more than my grades. More than my ambition. More than the girl who was going to be someone. She introduced me to her world. A world of parties and restaurants and people who had money. I didn't have money. My mother was a teacher. My father was a mechanic. I was paying for college with scholarships and loans and money I earned working at a coffee shop on Beacon Street. Vanessa didn't care. She paid for my drinks. She bought me dinner. She loaned me clothes when we went out. You'll pay me back when you're a rich lawyer, she'd say. I'm investing in your future. I believed her. I believed everything she said. In our junior year, Vanessa introduced me to Daniel. Daniel Ashford was a law student at Harvard. He was tall. He was handsome. He was the son of a federal judge and the grandson of a state senator. He had a future mapped out for him, clerkships, partnerships, maybe politics one day. He was the kind of man who looked at me and saw someone like him. Smart. Ambitious. Going somewhere. We met at a party in Back Bay. Vanessa was there. She was always there. She introduced us, then stepped back, watching. I didn't think anything of it at the time. Vanessa was always introducing me to people. She was always the one who brought me into rooms I wouldn't have entered on my own. Daniel and I talked for 3 hours that night. About the law. About politics. About the cases we wanted to win, the lives we wanted to build. He was brilliant. He was focused. He was the kind of man I had been waiting for without knowing I was waiting. He asked me out the next week. I said yes. Vanessa was thrilled. He's perfect for you, she said. He's going to be someone. And so are you. You're going to be the power couple of Boston. I laughed. We're in college. We're not a power couple. You will be. I'm telling you. I know these things. She was right. Daniel and I were perfect together. We studied together. We debated cases. We talked about the future like it was already ours. He proposed on the night I graduated from law school. We were at a restaurant on the water, the one where we'd had our first date. He got down on one knee. The whole restaurant applauded. I said yes. Of course I said yes. Vanessa was our maid of honor. She helped me pick out the dress. She helped me plan the wedding. She was there for everything. She was my best friend. She was going to be my maid of honor. She was going to stand beside me when I married the man I loved. I didn't know she was already planning to take him. The unraveling started 6 months before the wedding. I was in my 3rd year of law school. I was working as a clerk for a federal judge. I was exhausted. I was stressed. I was trying to finish my degree while planning a wedding while preparing for the bar exam. Vanessa was working at a public relations firm in the city. She was good at it. She was good at making people look good. She was good at spinning stories, shaping narratives, making the truth into whatever she needed it to be. I didn't see what was happening. I was too busy. Too tired. Too sure of the people I loved. Daniel started pulling away. He was busy with his own career. He was clerking for a judge in the federal district court. He was working late. He was traveling. He was always too busy to talk. I told myself it was the stress. I told myself it would get better after the bar exam. I told myself that Daniel loved me. That Vanessa loved me. That everything was fine. It wasn't fine. The rumor started at a party. I wasn't there. I was studying for the bar. Vanessa went. Daniel went. They went together, as friends, because they were both friends of the host. I didn't think anything of it. I told them to have fun. I told them to send my regrets. I went back to my outlines, my flashcards, my endless hours of preparation. The next day, I got a call from a friend who had been at the party. Alex, she said. Her voice was strange. I need to tell you something. What? Vanessa was telling people something. About you. About Daniel. About the wedding. My stomach dropped. What was she saying? She was saying that you cheated on Daniel. That you've been sleeping with someone in your study group. That you've been lying to him for months. I couldn't breathe. That's not true. That's not, I've never. I know. I know it's not true. But people are talking. And Daniel was there. He heard it. I hung up. I called Daniel. He didn't answer. I called him again. He didn't answer. I called him 7 times. On the 8th, he picked up. Daniel. What's going on? I heard. I need some time, he said. His voice was cold. Flat. Not the voice of the man who had proposed to me. Time for what? Daniel, you know I would never. I don't know anything right now. I heard things last night. Things I didn't want to hear. Things that, he stopped. He took a breath. I need to think. I'll call you. He hung up. I called Vanessa. She answered on the first ring. Vanessa. What did you say last night? What are you talking about? Someone told me you were spreading rumors about me. About me cheating on Daniel. There was a pause. A pause that lasted too long. A pause that told me everything. I was just talking, she said. I was upset. I was worried about you. I thought. You thought what? You thought you would tell my fiancé that I was cheating on him? You thought you would ruin my relationship? I was trying to help. I didn't know. You didn't know what? You didn't know it would destroy everything? You didn't know it would make him doubt me? You didn't know what you were doing? She was quiet. I was shaking. My hands were shaking. My voice was shaking. Vanessa. Why would you do this? She didn't answer. She hung up. The next week was the worst week of my life. Daniel didn't call. I called him. I texted him. I went to his apartment. He wasn't there. His roommate said he was staying with a friend. I went to Vanessa's apartment. She wasn't there either. Her roommate said she was out. She didn't know when she'd be back. The rumor spread. By the end of the week, everyone in our circle had heard it. I was a cheater. I was a liar. I was using Daniel for his connections, his money, his family name. I didn't know how to fight it. I didn't know how to make people believe me. I was one person. I was a law student with no money, no power, no voice. And Vanessa was a publicist. She knew how to shape a story. She knew how to make people believe things that weren't true. The call came on a Friday. Daniel's voice was final. Resigned. I can't marry you, he said. I can't marry someone I don't trust. You can trust me. I didn't do anything. Vanessa made it up. She made everything up. I talked to her. She told me everything. She told me about the guy in your study group. She told me about the nights you said you were studying. She told me. She's lying. Daniel, she's lying. Please. Please believe me. I want to believe you. I do. But there's too much. Too many people saying the same thing. I can't, his voice cracked. I can't build a life with someone I can't trust. He hung up. I sat on the floor of my apartment. I didn't move for hours. I didn't cry. I couldn't cry. I was too empty. A week later, I saw them together. I was walking through the North End, on my way to the coffee shop where I used to study. I saw them through the window of a restaurant. Daniel and Vanessa. Sitting at a table. Holding hands. She was wearing a ring. A ring I recognized. The ring Daniel had given me. The ring I had returned to him when he called off the wedding. I stood on the sidewalk, watching them. They didn't see me. They were laughing. They were leaning into each other. They were the picture of two people who had found something they had been looking for. I walked home. I packed my things. I moved out of the apartment Vanessa and I had shared. I stopped answering calls from our mutual friends. I stopped going to places where I might see them. I studied for the bar exam in my mother's house, in the small town where I grew up. I sat in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by textbooks and outlines and the wreckage of my life. My mother brought me tea. She sat with me. She didn't ask questions. She just sat. He's not worth it, she said one night. Neither is she. I know, I said. I know. But I didn't know. I didn't know how I was going to move forward. I didn't know how I was going to become someone. I didn't know how I was going to trust anyone again. I passed the bar exam. I passed it on my first try. I got a job at a small firm in Boston, handling criminal defense cases no one else wanted. I worked. I worked harder than I had ever worked. I took cases other lawyers wouldn't touch. I defended people who had no one else to defend them. I became good at it. I became the lawyer who could see the story behind the crime. The lawyer who could find the truth when everyone else had given up. The lawyer who could convince a jury to look past what they thought they knew. I didn't think about Vanessa. That's not true. I thought about her. I thought about the rumor she spread. I thought about the way she smiled at me while she was taking everything I had. I thought about the ring on her finger. The ring that was supposed to be mine. I thought about Daniel. About the man who had believed her instead of me. About the man who had chosen the lie over the truth. About the man who had thrown away 3 years for something that wasn't real. I thought about what I would say to them if I ever saw them again. I practiced it in my head. The perfect words. The perfect speech. The perfect moment when I would show them who I had become. But that moment never came. 10 years passed. I built a life. I built a reputation. I built a version of myself that didn't need them. And then, on a Tuesday in October, Vanessa walked into my office. She looked older. Her hair was shorter. Her face was thinner. There were lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She was wearing a coat that was too thin for the weather. Her hands were shaking. She stood in the doorway of my office. She looked at me. I looked at her. "Alex," she said. "Ms. Pierce," I said. "It's Ms. Reed. Or Ms. Pierce. I don't know your name now." She flinched. She stepped into the room. She closed the door behind her. "I need your help," she said. "I don't have anyone else to ask." I didn't say anything. I waited. I watched her stand there, in my office, in the place I had built without her. "My son," she said. "Liam. He's 17. He was arrested last night. They're charging him with murder." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "What did he do?" "He didn't do anything. He's innocent. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's been hanging out with the wrong people." "But he didn't," her voice broke. "He didn't kill anyone." "I know he didn't. But the police think he did. The DA is going to charge him. He's looking at life in prison, Alex. He's 17 years old." I looked at her. At this woman who had destroyed my life. At this woman who had taken my fiancé, my reputation, my future. At this woman who was standing in my office, asking me to save her son. "Why are you here?" I asked. "Why are you coming to me?" "Because you're the best," she said. "Because you're the only lawyer in this city who takes cases like this. Because you defend people no one else will defend. Because," she stopped. She looked at me. Her eyes were wet. "Because I don't have anyone else. Daniel left. 3 years ago. He left me for someone younger. I have no one. Just Liam. And if you don't help him, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison." I sat at my desk. I looked at this woman who had taken everything from me. I thought about the rumor. The ring. The restaurant window. The years I spent rebuilding myself from nothing. "You destroyed my life," I said. "You spread lies about me. You stole my fiancé. You took everything I had." She was crying now. Tears running down her face. "I know. I know what I did. I know I don't deserve anything from you. I know you should throw me out of this office and never look back. But Liam, he's innocent. He's a good kid. He's not me. He's never been me. And if you don't help him, he's going to die in prison." I looked at her. I looked at the woman who had betrayed me. And I looked at the mother who was begging for her son. "I'll think about it," I said. "I'm not promising anything. But I'll think about it." She nodded. She wiped her face. She walked to the door. She stopped with her hand on the handle. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for the lies. I'm sorry for Daniel. I'm sorry for all of it. She left. I sat in my office, alone, and I thought about what I was going to do. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit. His hands were cuffed. His feet were shackled. He walked like someone who had already given up. He sat down across from me. He looked at the table. He didn't look at me. Liam, I said. My name is Alexander Reed. I'm a lawyer. Your mother asked me to represent you. He didn't respond. He stared at the table. His hands were in his lap. He was twisting his fingers together. A nervous habit. A child's habit. Liam. I need you to look at me. He looked up. His eyes were red. His face was pale. He looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. Did you do it? I asked. Did you kill anyone? No. His voice was quiet. It cracked on the word. Look at me. Tell me again. He looked at me. His eyes were steady. I didn't kill anyone. I was there. I was there when it happened. But I didn't do it. I sat back. I looked at him. I looked at his face. I looked at his hands. I looked at the way he held himself, like he was trying to be smaller than he was. Tell me what happened. Everything. Don't leave anything out. He told me. His name was Liam Pierce. He was 17. He was a junior at Brighton High School. He played soccer. He got BS and CS. He had friends. He had a girlfriend. He was a normal kid. But 6 months ago, he started hanging out with a different crowd. Older kids. Kids who had cars and money and things that seemed exciting to a boy who was bored with his life. There was a boy named Marcus. Marcus was 19. He was the leader. He was the one who decided what they did, where they went, who they were. Liam looked up to him. Liam wanted to be like him. Liam didn't know that Marcus was dangerous. The night of the murder, Marcus called Liam. He said they were going to a party. He said to meet him at the old warehouse on Dorchester Avenue. Liam went. He always went. He didn't want Marcus to think he was scared. When he got there, Marcus wasn't alone. There were 3 other boys. Older. Harder. The kind of boys who looked at Liam like he was something they could use. They weren't going to a party. They were going to collect a debt. Someone owed Marcus money. Marcus was going to get it back. Liam didn't know that. Liam didn't know anything. They drove to a house in Roxbury. Marcus told Liam to wait in the car. Liam waited. He heard shouting. He heard things breaking. He heard a sound he didn't want to think about. Then Marcus came back. His shirt was red. His hands were red. His face was empty. Drive, Marcus said. Liam drove. He drove because he was scared. He drove because he didn't know what else to do. He drove because he was 17 and he had never seen anything like this, and he didn't know how to say no. The police stopped them 2 hours later. They were on the highway, heading out of the city. The car was Marcus's. The blood was on Marcus's clothes. But Liam was in the driver's seat. And when the police asked what happened, Marcus pointed at Liam. He did it, Marcus said. He killed the guy. I tried to stop him. But he wouldn't listen. Liam was arrested. He was charged with murder. He was put in a cell. He was 17 years old, and his life was over. I listened to his story. I took notes. I watched his face. I watched for the tells, the signs that someone is lying. I saw none. What I saw was a boy who was terrified. A boy who had made a terrible mistake. A boy who didn't know how to get out. Why didn't you leave? I asked. When you heard the shouting. When you heard things breaking. Why didn't you drive away? He looked at me. His eyes were wet. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I thought if I left, he would come after me. He would find me. He stopped. He couldn't finish. You were afraid of him. Yes. Did he threaten you? Before that night? Did he ever tell you what would happen if you didn't do what he said? Liam was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. He said he would hurt my mother. He said he knew where she lived. He said, his voice broke. He said he would make sure she couldn't work. Couldn't pay her bills. He said he would take everything. I sat back. I looked at this boy. This boy who had been manipulated, threatened, used. This boy who was sitting in a jail cell because he was too scared to say no. Liam, I said. I'm going to tell you something. And I need you to listen. This case is going to be hard. The DA is going to try to make you the killer. Marcus is going to say you did it. The evidence is going to be against you. But I have defended people in worse situations. I have won cases that no one thought I could win. And I am going to win this one. But I need you to trust me. I need you to tell me the truth. Always. No matter what. Can you do that? He looked at me. His eyes were wet. His face was pale. But there was something in his expression that hadn't been there before. Something that looked like hope. Yes, he said. I trust you. I stood up. I gathered my papers. I looked at him, this boy who was not his mother, this boy who had been given a life he didn't choose. I'm going to get you out of here, I said. I'm going to get you home. But you have to be patient. You have to be strong. And you have to trust me. He nodded. The guard came to take him back. He stood up. He shuffled toward the door. He stopped. He turned around. Ms. Reed, he said. My mother. Is she okay? I looked at him. This boy who was sitting in a jail cell, accused of murder, and he was worried about his mother. She's worried about you, I said. She's fighting for you. Don't give up. He nodded. The guard took him away. I stood in the visiting room, alone, and I thought about Vanessa. About the woman who had destroyed my life. About the son she had raised. About the boy who was nothing like her. The next week was a blur of motions and meetings and late nights in my office. I pulled the police reports. I reviewed the witness statements. I talked to the detectives. I talked to the DA. I built a case. The evidence against Liam was circumstantial. He was in the car. He was driving. He was there. But there was no physical evidence linking him to the murder. The blood was on Marcus's clothes. The weapon was in Marcus's hand. The witnesses, the people in the house who had heard the shouting, who had seen Marcus run out, they all said the same thing. Marcus was the one. Marcus was the killer. The DA didn't care. The DA wanted a conviction. He wanted someone to go to prison. And Marcus was 19. Marcus had a record. Marcus was the kind of kid the system had already decided was guilty. Liam was 17. Liam was clean. Liam was the kind of kid the system could save. But the DA didn't want to save him. The DA wanted to use him. He wanted to make an example of the boy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I filed a motion to suppress Marcus's statement. The one where he pointed at Liam. The one where he said Liam was the killer. Marcus had given that statement without a lawyer. He had been interrogated for 6 hours. He had been threatened, coerced, told that if he didn't give them someone, they would charge him with everything. The judge granted the motion. Marcus's statement was thrown out. The DA was furious. He called me. He yelled at me. He told me I was letting a killer go free. I hung up on him. I went back to work. Vanessa came to my office every day. She sat in the waiting room. She didn't come in. She didn't ask for updates. She just sat. She was there when I arrived in the morning. She was there when I left at night. I didn't talk to her. I didn't acknowledge her. I couldn't. I was defending her son. That was enough. I didn't need to be her friend. I didn't need to forgive her. I just needed to do my job. But I watched her. I watched the way she sat in the waiting room, her hands folded, her face pale, her eyes fixed on the door. I watched the way she flinched every time my paralegal walked out. I watched the way she cried when I told her that Liam's case was moving to trial. She was a mother. That's what I saw. Not the woman who had betrayed me. Not the woman who had destroyed my life. A mother who was terrified of losing her son. It didn't make what she did okay. It didn't erase the past. But it made me see her differently. It made me see her as someone who was also broken. Someone who had also made mistakes. Someone who was also trying to find her way. The trial was set for January. 3 months away. 3 months to prepare. 3 months to build a case that would save a 17-year-old boy's life. I worked every day. I worked weekends. I worked through the holidays. I interviewed witnesses. I hired experts. I built a timeline. I built a narrative. Marcus was the killer. Marcus had a motive. Marcus had a record. Marcus had threatened Liam. Marcus had manipulated him. Marcus had used him. Liam was a victim. Liam was a boy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Liam was innocent. The DA didn't care. He had a case to win. He had a career to protect. He didn't care about the truth. He cared about the conviction. I knew that game. I had played it before. I knew how to win. A month before the trial, I got a call from Marcus's lawyer. He wanted to meet. He wanted to talk. He wanted to make a deal. I met him at a coffee shop near the courthouse. He was a young lawyer. New. Eager. The kind of lawyer who thought he knew everything. Marcus will testify against Liam, he said. He'll say Liam was the shooter. He'll say Liam planned the whole thing. He'll say Liam threatened him. And the jury will believe him. Because Marcus is 19. Marcus has a record. Marcus is exactly what they expect. And Liam is a good kid from a good family. Liam is someone they want to believe. I looked at him. What are you offering? Plead guilty. Lesser charge. Manslaughter. 5 to 7 years. He's 17. He'll be out before he's 25. He can still have a life. I stood up. No. Ms. Reed. No. My client is innocent. He's not pleading guilty to anything. And if Marcus testifies against him, I will tear him apart on the stand. I will show the jury what he did. I will show them how he threatened a 17-year-old boy. I will show them how he used him. And they will believe me. Because I am very good at my job. I walked out. I didn't look back. Vanessa was in my office when I got back. She was standing by the window, looking out at the city. She turned when I walked in. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. I heard about the deal, she said. The DA offered a plea. 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years is a long time for a 17-year-old. I know. But if we go to trial and lose? We're not going to lose. She looked at me. Her eyes were wet. How do you know? How can you be so sure? I sat down at my desk. I looked at her. This woman who had destroyed my life. This woman who was standing in my office, asking me to save her son. Because I've done this before, I said. Because I've defended people who had no one else. Because I know how to tell a story. Because I know how to make a jury see the truth. And because Liam is innocent. He didn't do this. And I'm not going to let him go to prison for something he didn't do. She sat down in the chair across from me. She put her head in her hands. She was crying. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for the lies. I'm sorry for Daniel. I'm sorry for all of it. I didn't say anything. I let her cry. I let her say what she had been carrying for 10 years. I was jealous of you, she said. I was so jealous. You were going to be someone. You were going to be a lawyer. You were going to marry Daniel. You were going to have this life that I couldn't have. And I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand that you had everything I wanted. So I took it. I took it because I thought it would make me happy. And it didn't. It never made me happy. I looked at her. This woman who had been my best friend. This woman who had betrayed me. This woman who was sitting in my office, broken and sorry. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because I need you to know. I need you to know that I know what I did. I need you to know that I've spent 10 years regretting it. I need you to know that I'm not the same person I was. I'm not, she stopped. She wiped her face. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve that. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I sat at my desk. I looked at this woman. I thought about the years I spent angry. The years I spent wondering what I did wrong. The years I spent rebuilding myself from nothing. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive you. But I'm not defending Liam because of you. I'm defending him because he's innocent. I'm defending him because he deserves someone to fight for him. And I'm defending him because that's who I am. That's who I became. And you don't get to take credit for that. She nodded. She stood up. She walked to the door. Thank you, she said. For defending him. For being the person you are. For being someone I never could be. She left. I sat in my office, alone, and I thought about what she said. I thought about the years of anger. The years of hurt. The years of wondering if I would ever be whole. I was whole. I was whole without her apology. I was whole without her forgiveness. I was whole because I had built myself into someone she could never be. The trial started in January. The courtroom was full. The press was there. The family of the victim was there. Vanessa was there. She sat in the back row. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just watched. I sat at the defense table with Liam. He was wearing a suit. His mother had bought it for him. He looked like a boy who was trying to be a man. You ready? I asked. He nodded. His hands were shaking. I'm scared. That's okay. Being scared is normal. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? He looked at me. His eyes were steady. I trust you. I opened my file. I looked at the jury. 12 people who were going to decide if a 17-year-old boy would spend the rest of his life in prison. I stood up. I walked to the center of the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen, I said. This case is about a boy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's about a boy who was manipulated, threatened, and used by someone he thought was his friend. It's about a boy who is innocent. And by the time this trial is over, you will know that. You will know that Liam Pierce did not kill anyone. You will know that he was a victim. And you will do the only thing you can do. You will set him free. Here's where I need to pause again. Because what happened in that courtroom, the testimony, the cross-examination, the moment when Marcus took the stand, That's the part of this story where everything changed. Not just for Liam. For me. For Vanessa. For the woman I had become. If you've ever had to face the person who hurt you, type face in the comments. Let me know you understand. I'll be back with part 3, where I tell you about the trial. About the moment I looked Marcus in the eyes. About the verdict. About what happened after. The trial lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks of witnesses. 3 weeks of evidence. 3 weeks of watching the DA try to turn a 17-year-old boy into a killer. 3 weeks of watching Liam sit at the defense table, his hands folded, his face pale, his eyes fixed on the jury. He didn't cry. He didn't break. He sat there, day after day, and he trusted me. He trusted me to save his life. The DA called his witnesses. The detectives who arrested Liam. The crime scene technicians who found the blood. The neighbors who heard the shouting. They all told the same story. There was a murder. There was a car. There was a boy in the driver's seat. But none of them could put the weapon in Liam's hand. None of them could put him in the house. None of them could say he was the one who pulled the trigger. I cross-examined each witness. I asked the same questions. Did you see my client in the house? Did you see him with a weapon? Did you see him threaten anyone? The answers were always no. The DA was getting frustrated. He had a case based on circumstance, on association, on the word of a murderer. And he knew that wasn't enough. On the 10th day, he called Marcus. Marcus walked into the courtroom like he owned it. He was 19 years old. He was tall. He was handsome. He had the kind of face that people trusted without thinking. He was wearing a suit. His lawyer had told him to look like someone who was telling the truth. He sat in the witness box. He raised his right hand. He swore to tell the truth. He looked at the jury. He smiled. A small smile. A confident smile. The smile of someone who had been lying his whole life. The DA stood up. Marcus, can you tell us what happened on the night of October 15th? Marcus nodded. He took a breath. He looked at the jury. He looked at Liam. He looked at me. I was with Liam, he said. We were going to collect some money. It was supposed to be easy. Just a conversation. But when we got there, Liam lost it. He started yelling. He pulled out a gun. Marcus stopped. He put his head down. He made himself look like he was crying. I tried to stop him, he said. I tried to take the gun. But he wouldn't listen. He was crazy. He looked up. His eyes were wet. He shot him. He shot him and then he made me drive. He said if I told anyone, he would kill me too. The courtroom was silent. The jury was watching Marcus. Some of them were leaning forward. Some of them were nodding. They wanted to believe him. They wanted someone to tell them what happened. They wanted the easy story. I stood up. I walked to the center of the courtroom. Your Honor, I said. I'd like to cross-examine the witness. I walked to the witness box. I stood in front of Marcus. I looked at him. He looked at me. He smiled again. That small, confident smile. Marcus, I said. You testified that my client, Liam Pierce, killed the victim. Is that correct? Yes. You testified that you tried to stop him. That you tried to take the gun. That you were afraid of him. Yes. And yet, when the police stopped you, you were covered in blood. My client was not. Can you explain that? Marcus's smile faltered. I was trying to help. I was trying to stop the bleeding. You were trying to stop the bleeding? From a gunshot wound? By covering yourself in blood? The jury shifted. Marcus's lawyer stood up. Objection, Your Honor, Counsel is badgering the witness. Sustained, the judge said. I changed my approach. Marcus, you have a criminal record. Is that correct? He shifted in his seat. I had some trouble when I was younger. You were arrested for assault when you were 16. You were arrested for robbery when you were 17. You were arrested for possession of a firearm when you were 18. Is that correct? I was never convicted. But you were arrested. 3 times. My client has never been arrested. Never been charged. Never been in trouble. Is that correct? Marcus looked at his lawyer. His lawyer shook his head. Marcus turned back to me. I guess so. Marcus, you told my client that if he didn't do what you said, you would hurt his mother. Is that true? Marcus's face went white. That's not, I never. I have witnesses, I said. I have 3 witnesses who will testify that you threatened Liam. That you told him you would hurt his mother if he didn't do what you said. That you used him. That you manipulated him. Is that true? Marcus looked at his lawyer again. His lawyer was standing now. He was saying something. I couldn't hear what. I didn't, Marcus started. You told Liam that you would make sure his mother couldn't work. Couldn't pay her bills. That you would take everything. Is that true? It's not. You threatened a 17-year-old boy. You used him. You put him in a car. You made him drive. And when the police stopped you, you pointed at him. You said he did it. You said he was the killer. Is that true? Marcus was shaking. His face was red. His hands were gripping the edge of the witness box. I didn't, he said again. You did, I said. You did all of it. And now you're sitting here, trying to send an innocent boy to prison for a crime you committed. Isn't that true? Marcus's lawyer was on his feet. Objection. Objection. The judge was banging his gavel. Sustained. Counsel, control yourself. I stepped back. I looked at the jury. They were watching Marcus. They were seeing him. The real him. The killer who was trying to blame a child. No further questions, I said. I called my witnesses. The neighbors who saw Marcus run from the house. The friend who heard Marcus threaten Liam. The expert who testified that the blood pattern on Marcus's clothes was consistent with someone who was standing close to the victim when the gun was fired. The expert who testified that there was no blood on Liam's clothes. None at all. I called Liam. He walked to the stand. He was shaking. He looked at me. I nodded. I told him to trust me. He told his story. He told them about Marcus. About the threats. About the fear. About the night he was told to drive, to wait, to not ask questions. He told them about the moment he heard the shot. About the moment Marcus came out of the house with blood on his hands. About the moment he knew his life was over. He didn't cry. He didn't break. He sat there, in front of the jury, and he told the truth. When he was done, the DA stood up. He tried to shake him. He asked him why he didn't go to the police. Why he didn't leave. Why he didn't call for help. Liam looked at him. Because I was scared, he said. Because he told me he would hurt my mother. Because I didn't know what to do. Because I was 17 years old and I was alone. The DA sat down. He had nothing else to say. The closing arguments were on a Friday. The courtroom was full. Vanessa was in the back row. She was holding a rosary. She was praying. I had never seen her pray before. The DA went first. He stood in front of the jury. He told them that Liam was there. He told them that Liam was in the car. He told them that Liam didn't call the police. He told them that Liam was guilty. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, the defendant was there. He was in the car. He was driving. He didn't stop. He didn't call for help. He didn't do anything. And that makes him just as guilty as the man who pulled the trigger. He sat down. I stood up. I walked to the center of the courtroom. I looked at the jury. 12 people. 12 people who were going to decide if a 17-year-old boy would spend the rest of his life in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, I said. The prosecutor is right about one thing. Liam Pierce was there. He was in the car. He was driving. He didn't call the police. But the prosecutor left something out. He left out why. I walked to the defense table. I put my hand on Liam's shoulder. Liam was there because he was threatened. He was there because he was afraid. He was there because a man told him that if he didn't do what he said, he would hurt his mother. He was there because he was 17 years old and he didn't know what else to do. I turned back to the jury. The prosecutor wants you to believe that Liam is a killer. But there is no evidence. No weapon. No blood. No witness. Nothing except the word of a man who has been arrested 3 times. A man who threatened a child. A man who lied to the police. A man who is sitting in this courtroom, trying to send an innocent boy to prison for a crime he committed himself. I walked to the jury box. I looked at each of them. One by one. You have a choice, I said. You can believe Marcus. You can believe the man who threatened a child. You can believe the man who has been arrested 3 times. Or you can believe Liam. You can believe the boy who was scared. The boy who was used. The boy who was innocent. I paused. I let the silence fill the room. Ladies and gentlemen, my client is not guilty. He was never guilty. He was a victim. And by the time you leave this courtroom, you will know that. You will know that Liam Pierce did not kill anyone. You will know that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you will do the only thing you can do. You will set him free. I sat down. The jury was sent out. The waiting began. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. 6 hours of sitting in the courtroom, waiting. 6 hours of watching the door, waiting for it to open. 6 hours of watching Vanessa sit in the back row, her hands clasped, her lips moving, praying. Liam sat beside me. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He just sat there, staring at the door, waiting for someone to tell him if he was going to live or die. At 7:30 p.m., the door opened. The jury filed in. The foreman handed a piece of paper to the bailiff. The bailiff handed it to the judge. The judge read it. His face didn't change. He handed it back. He looked at the jury. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the charge of murder in the first degree, how do you find? The foreman stood up. He looked at Liam. He looked at me. He looked at the judge. Not guilty. The courtroom erupted. Vanessa was crying. Liam was crying. I was crying. I put my hand on Liam's shoulder. I squeezed. He looked at me. His face was wet. His eyes were wide. I'm free, he said. I'm free. You're free, I said. You're going home. The courthouse emptied. The press gathered outside. The cameras were flashing. The reporters were shouting. I walked through them, my head down, my hand on Liam's arm. Vanessa was waiting by the car. She was crying. She ran to Liam. She put her arms around him. She held him like she had been waiting to hold him for months. My baby, she said. My baby. He held her. He was crying. They stood there, in the parking lot, holding each other. I stood back. I watched them. I watched the woman who had destroyed my life hold her son. I watched the boy I had saved hold his mother. I turned away. I walked to my car. I got in. I sat there for a moment, alone, in the quiet. The door opened. Vanessa was standing outside. She had left Liam by the other car. She was standing there, looking at me. "Alex," she said. I rolled down the window. "What?" "Thank you. For saving him. For being the person you are." She stopped. She was crying again. "I don't deserve your help. I don't deserve anything from you. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. And I'm grateful. Every day. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be grateful." I looked at her. This woman who had taken everything from me. This woman who had given me nothing in return. This woman who was standing in a parking lot, crying, thanking me for saving her son. "I didn't do it for you," I said. "I did it for him. He deserved someone to fight for him." "I know," she said. "I know. And I'm grateful anyway." She walked away. She got in her car. She drove away with her son. I sat in my car, alone, and I watched them go. I went home that night. Justice was waiting for me. She meowed. She wanted dinner. She didn't care about trials or verdicts or the woman who had betrayed me. She wanted dinner. I fed her. I sat on the couch. I looked at the wall. I thought about the case. About Liam. About the look on his face when the jury said not guilty. About the way he said I'm free. About the way he held his mother in the parking lot. I thought about Vanessa. About the apology. About the years of anger. About the years of wondering if I would ever be whole. I was whole. I was whole without her apology. I was whole without her forgiveness. I was whole because I had built myself into someone she could never be. But I was also something else. I was someone who could forgive. I was someone who could let go. I was someone who could choose redemption over revenge. I didn't forgive Vanessa because she deserved it. I forgave her because I deserved to be free. I didn't save Liam because she asked me to. I saved him because it was the right thing to do. Because he was innocent. Because he deserved someone to fight for him. And in the end, that's what mattered. Not the past. Not the betrayal. Not the years of anger. What mattered was what I did when the moment came. What mattered was who I chose to be. A month after the trial, I got a letter. It was from Liam. He wrote it on notebook paper, in handwriting that was still the handwriting of a boy. "Ms. Reed. I don't know how to thank you. You saved my life. You gave me back my future. You gave me back my mother. I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to be someone. I'm going to make you proud. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for fighting for me. Thank you for being the person you are. Liam." I put the letter in my desk drawer. I looked at it sometimes, when I needed to remember why I did what I did. When I needed to remember that I was the person who showed up. The person who fought for people no one else would fight for. The person who chose redemption over revenge. Here's what I've learned. Revenge doesn't heal you. It doesn't make you whole. It doesn't give you back what you lost. The only thing that heals you is building something new. Something that is yours. Something that no one can take away. I built a career. I built a reputation. I built a life that Vanessa couldn't touch. And when the moment came, when I had the chance to let her suffer the way I had suffered, I chose something different. I chose to be the person she never could be. I chose to be the person who shows up. Who fights. Who saves. Not because she deserved it. Because I did. Because I deserve to be the kind of person who doesn't let the past decide the future. Because I deserve to be free. My name is Alexander Reed. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I defend people who have no one else to defend them. I fight for the truth. I show up when everyone else walks away. And I am free. I am free of the woman who betrayed me. I am free of the anger I carried for 10 years. I am free of the past that tried to break me. I am free because I chose to be. I am free because I built something that no one could take away. I am free because I am the person I decided to be. I see Vanessa sometimes. In the grocery store. On the street. She always looks away. She always walks faster. She doesn't want to see me. She doesn't want to remember what she did. But sometimes, when she doesn't know I'm looking, I see her with Liam. He's older now. He's in college. He's studying to be a social worker. He wants to help kids who are in the same situation he was in. Kids who are scared. Kids who are alone. Kids who need someone to fight for them. She walks beside him. She holds his arm. She looks at him like he is the most important thing in the world. And maybe he is. Maybe he is the thing that saved her. The thing that made her want to be better. I don't know if she's better. I don't know if she's changed. I don't know if she's the same person who spread lies about me, who stole my fiancé, who took everything I had. But I know that I am different. I am not the woman she betrayed. I am not the woman who was broken. I am someone else. Someone stronger. Someone better. Someone who chose to be free. And that is enough. That is more than enough. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, if you've ever been broken by someone who was supposed to love you, if you've ever wondered if you would ever be whole again, I want you to know something. You will be whole. You will build something new. You will become someone that no one can touch. Not because you forget what happened, but because you choose to be free. You don't have to forgive. You don't have to forget. You don't have to be the person who shows up for the people who hurt you. But you do have to be the person who shows up for yourself. Who fights for yourself. Who builds a life that is yours. And when the moment comes, when you have the chance to choose revenge or redemption, I hope you choose redemption. Not because they deserve it. Because you do. Because you deserve to be free. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to choose between revenge and redemption, leave a comment. Tell me your story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. I have more stories to tell. And I want you to be here for them. My name is Alexander Reed. I defend the innocent. I fight for the truth. I choose redemption over revenge.